Welcome back to Hardball. At the heart of the debate over the exchange of prisoners that returned Bo Bergdahl is a trickier question. What do we do with Guantanamo Bay, Gitmo as we call it? President Obama has been saying for 6 years he's committed to shutting it down, a goal which he reiterated when he spoke to students at the West Point Military Academy at West Point just last week.
What makes us exceptional is not our ability to flout international norms and the rule of law. It is our willingness to affirm them through our actions. And that's why I will continue to push to close Gitmo, because American values and legal traditions do not permit the indefinite detention of people beyond our borders.
But Republicans are promising all-out political war if he tries to empty Gitmo, especially in light of the fallout from the Bergdahl trade, which released 5 Taliban prisoners from Gitmo. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina is warning publicly the president that he could face impeachment if he does it. Here's Graham talking to reporters just yesterday.
It's going to be impossible for them to flow prisoners out of Gitmo now without just a huge backlash.
Why can't they just now do it without warning you?
There'll be people on our side calling for his impeachment. If he did that, there would be people on their side feeling the political ramifications of emptying a jail full of hardened, vicious killers. The politics would make it devastating for the Democratic Party.
Emptying a jail full of hardened killers. I mean, Congressman Peter King, thanks for coming back on the show. You're a Republican, of course, from New York, and a member of the House Homeland Security Committee. This is one of those stark divides I see, and I personally find it very difficult to deal with this issue. What do we do with people we know are enemies, who clearly have committed their lives, for perhaps their idea of a religious reason, to killing us in jihad, and yet we don't have a case that we can take to a criminal court in the United States and put them away for life? What do we do with them? What's your view?
Well, I've supported Guantanamo all along. I think it's wrong when the president says this violates our values. He may have a different opinion, but somehow that's criticizing us before the world for something which I think is entirely legal. I've been to Guantanamo. It's probably better than not only most prisons, probably any Army basic training camp in this country, as far as they have soccer facilities, language skills they're taught, art classes. There's, I think, one medical personnel for every 3 detainees. So listen, it's not an ideal situation, but the fact is these people, many of them, are hardened killers. I mean, the president's own advisors, or his own experts, have said that some of these people are too dangerous to release. So I think that, again, so long as they are in humanitarian conditions, I don't see the alternative to it at this stage. Now, if the war does, and I say the war with terrorism winds down, fine, but we've found, I don't have the numbers in front of me now, but a large percentage, like 25 to 30% of the people that are released go back on the battlefield to kill us, and the most hardened ones are still in there.
I keep hearing from people who are lawyers and people who are civil liberties, people who know the law, who keep telling me we can't keep people in that facility, especially the Afghan people, after we pull out our combat troops. Do you hear that, or do you just ignore it? I mean, what do you do with the people who say legally you can't just keep people in permanent stockade conditions unless you've got a case against them that you can take to a judge?
Well, first of all, I don't believe that foreign fighters, these detainees, these terrorists captured on the battlefield, are entitled to the same constitutional rights as an American or anyone who else is in our country. These are people captured on the battlefield, and by the very nature of their being captured, it's very difficult to get evidence that would hold up in a federal court. You can't have the teams out there. You can't. You'll be getting fingerprints. This is not the type of thing that lends itself. But there is intelligence on them that could not be used in a civilian court, okay. and that's just the nature of it. So
okay, let's take that, Senator Congressman. Let's just take these 5 fellas. Obviously, they're big shots. Right. 4 of them are real big shots. We got another 12 apparently sitting in there. We have more Afghan prisoners sitting in Gitmo. Mm-hmm. When do we release the rest of them? Would it be when we got all our combat troops out at the end of 15, entirely out, apparently everybody but a few Marines, I guess, who have the tough duty of standing around our embassy by the end of 16? I mean, when do we let those guys out? The Afghan Taliban, not necessarily Al-Qaeda, but Afghan people who are on that side of the politics over there. When do we let them out?
Well, just because most of our troops are coming out doesn't mean the war is going to be over. The fact is this war is going to go on, and we do want to maintain some type of a civil society in Afghanistan after we leave, so it's not used as a privileged sanctuary by al-Qaeda and the Taliban to attack us again, and it's going to make it much more difficult to do that. Think of the Afghans that we've left behind, you know, the police, the army, the civilians who have pledged to work with us, and we're sending killers back there who can kill them. Also, it would put the troops we do have there also at risk. So just because the president says the war is over doesn't mean it's over. This isn't like World War II where you have MacArthur on the battleship Missouri.
Oh, I know. Boy, I've made your argument before, Congressman, but I keep being hit with this, that we don't have a British-style system where there's some statute out of Parliament that says you have the right to hold people like the IRA forever. And I don't know whether the law, have you gotten a legal opinion on this from anybody that's told you we have the right to bring in these people as foreign troops, as basically POWs, and hold them as long as we want?
Yeah, well, that argument's from maybe before the Supreme Court. Basically, the courts have upheld our right to have Guantanamo, and so long as to me, there's engagements going on, and certainly if they're part of al-Qaeda, I believe we have the right to hold them. And as far as the Taliban, again, you know, we're going to have troops in there, even if it's a small number, and to send these Taliban back, it puts those men and women at risk.
Okay. Congressman, it's always an honor to have you on. Congressman Peter King of New York,
okay.
Thanks for coming
Chris, thank
on.
you.